I'm going to shut this window out.
Well, we're live.
Noise.
Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of No F's Given. As you just saw Max getting up to shut his window. So mate, busy weekend of boxing. We were very fortunate enough to go to both the Matchroom and Queensbury fights this weekend. Very, very good shows. Impressed by both. Great boxing action. And for all of those of you who didn't watch it, you can watch some of the highlights and knockouts on our Got Chinned episode, which should be going out very, very soon. Anyway, so Max, let's start with no further ado. Let's start with the latest news then. So quickly talk about the fights over the weekend. Hit me.
Right, I'm going to go straight in with Collins and Bazza. Wow. Probably my quickest knockout I've ever seen.
24 seconds in the first round. So the thing is, we were at the press conference on Wednesday. This was a Queensbury event, wasn't it, at York Hall? Yeah. There was a bit of ag because they'd actually faced one another before. And Hamza said, oh, well, I've got nothing to lose. I'm the underdog. I'm this, I'm that, I'm something else. And I was saying, it is what it is. Both kids, nice guys. We got to speak to both. The interviews should have been out, so you could go and see them. The Scotsman won. I mean, it was an amazing shot. Come round the back to clip him round the ear roll, I think, as well. And his eyes were gone, weren't they?
Yeah, because obviously, well, I was positioned literally 6 foot from the ring. As Mazza hit the deck, I looked straight at his eyes. His eyes were, those all starry. It was clearly gone. As you can see when he stood up, that he was a bit wobbly on his feet. And obviously, white call by the referee to stop the fight.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was a bit controversial whether he hit him in the back of the head. But when you look at the slow-mo, it gets chinned, then it sort of gets hit here by the ear roll, which to me is okay. So that's probably what finished him off. But it is a very, very quick knockout, and I was right impressed.
So, I mean, I've seen knockouts quick before. I mean, you have to... when you look at that sort of thing and they happen so quickly in a fashion like that, I always think it's just that lucky punch. That's what it was, It didn't.
I didn't take one.
Yeah, it does, and it was an incredible shot. Took him clean out the game, and as any promoter will tell you, you don't get paid for overtime. So fantastic result for Nathaniel Collins, who's now in Israel because he's gone to a wedding, and hopefully we'll be able to talk to him when he gets back.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, good. Who else sort of...
We haven't been in contact with him, and as soon as he's back, we're on the interview.
Lovely. So, obviously, tell me another fight. You obviously want to talk about the weekend. Hit me with it.
Right, let's talk about the McCann fight.
A clash of heads, and that got pretty spiteful in there, and there's a lot of discrepancy, there's a lot of judgment going on as to who actually won that fight. Yeah. Now, people are saying Baluta, as they were screaming at ringside as we were there. Yeah. But Baluta was actually swinging wildly and falling over his own feet a lot of the time.
He fell over about 1 time.
Yeah.
It literally trying to take Dennis's head off.
Well, I mean...
He proved himself that A, he's up for the task, B, he's got a chin. He can take them shots, and he stepped up a level, and massive respect from me and obviously from you, and I'm buzzing to see him do the rematch.
I mean, it was cracking. It was a cracking fight.
Saying, oh, we've actually been thrown in the deep end, but to become a good boxer and an elite, you've got to be thrown in the deep end sometimes. You've got to prove it.
Well, absolutely. It's called separating the wheat from the chaff, isn't it? And that's exactly what happened. I tell you what, there wasn't a lot to separate them. I've got to give massive kudos to Dennis McCann because catching that headbutt the way he did, split him wide open instantly, didn't it?
That was instant. That was.
And he is a tough fighter. Fighter, and
he might be small, but he's mighty.
He is a tough man, and pleasure to talk to. Nice chat, very friendly, and I just thought at the end of the day they both did themselves proud. I'd love to see the rematch. I think you've got to have the rematch.
Yeah, I think if it's going to be a rematch, it's got to happen towards the end of this year.
It would be nice to see it again towards the end of this year. So Frank, if you're listening, You know, we're up for coming down again. Christmas special, a great. I mean, that would have done as a great undercard to Dubois Usyk. Do you know what I mean? As a co-main event, it was a really good fight. It was a really good fight. Speaking of good other fights,
yes.
Go on. Who's next? I know he's buzzing to sit there and say it.
Right. Cyrus and Connor.
I knew that was next. I mean, this guys was on the Matchroom show in Birmingham Saturday night. Fantastic event. Massive kudos to Eddie Hearn and all the team, Frank Smith. Really, really good fight that. Now, let's put it into perspective. Eddie Hearn definitely wanted Cyrus to win. Because obviously
he was losing his shit.
He didn't just lose it, he was jumping up and down, going, he's pushed him. I was like, Eddie, we're this side of the ring, you're the opposite side. Right, he didn't, he caught him with the right uppercut. And that's what it looked like from my point of view. Yeah, and he absolutely battered him. And in the end, Conor retired Patterson in the corner, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it was a war.
It was a cracking fight.
The first round till the end round, when it got called off, they were just battering each other. And probably, I would like to put that as a contender as fight of the year so far. Definitely.
Well, I mean, we went out on a Friday, we saw Dennis McCann, Inoue Baluta, and we thought, you're going to have to, Matchroom, you're going to struggle to do this. Yeah. You're going to struggle to compete against this sort of quality that was put out on that night. It just didn't know that particular fight. And boy, did we have a wicked weekend.
Yes.
Massive respect to both Matchroom and Queensbury. You couldn't have matched them any better. As far as fight weekends go.
It's probably the best weekend of boxing we've had for a long, long time.
It was. And what made it nice is Matchroom and Queensbury had different nights. So we could go to both.
Yes.
I mean, that made it cracking. I mean, I really enjoyed it. I think that anybody who watched it on TV got absolute, value for money. So whether you watched it on TNT Sports, formerly BT, or whether you watched it on DAZN on Saturday, you got value for money.
So every fight from Queensbury and Matchroom was stoppages.
I think there was more on Matchroom's on the undercarting. So, who else do you want to talk about before we hit some major news?
Young gun.
Muhammad Ali?
No, that was Spider.
Oh yeah, it was. This is on the Matchroom show again on the undercard on the Before the Burn.
That is a young boy who's got a bright future. He come out to prove a point, and boy, he did. He didn't let up 1 second. He just hammered the geezer, left, right, and centre, and got the win like he deserved.
And if you want to see that, watch our episode of Got Chin, because it is actually on there. It was a cracking fight. I mean, they were all cracking fights. And, if you ever get a chance to actually watch them back, guys, I would. It was a great weekend of boxing. Yes, and one that I would recommend to anybody. But obviously, we're in the game of boxing, so we kind of get to see some of these great fights. Anyway, so let's move on and do some actual boxing news, shall we? Instead of I'm going to start with Team Combat League. Now, Team Combat League, we stream that on FTTVBoxing. I also gave them some advice and things a bit early on in starting up there. And, it was a great night. So basically, they had their big last event, the Brawl, Mega Brawl 1. Thunder Studios in Long Beach, California, and New York City actually won over Atlanta Attack. So I've had the pleasure of working with them for a while, and it was really, really good. I mean, I watched it live. If you guys had a chance to watch it, there's some few real good up and coming heavyweight stars in there. Michael Hunter was there fighting Greg Hardy, and that was a sort of a good bout.
Yeah. Last time to say.
Greg Hardy was kissing the canvas. Yeah, he did. So, guys, just a big shout out for them. Many congratulations to the NYC Attitude or New York City Attitude beating Atlanta Attack. If you do want to watch it, go back and watch a live cast that we did. It was actually on our show yesterday, and it'd be great for you to watch that. So, well done to everyone at Team Combat League. And I know that they are starting, a second season. So, big kudos to them. Yeah, why not? So let's have a little look into that. The Inside the Soul of Tyson Fury. Now, this is a Netflix thing that he's actually put out. and we've watched it.
Yeah.
What did you think, Max?
Right. You all know my feelings about Tyson. You know, I've called him out. He ought to know because obviously he's a bit scared.
He's scared you'll bruise his knuckles.
All seriousness. I've actually changed my views on Tyson. I have. After watching his series, you realise that life's pressures. You know what I mean? He's a world champion. He's a husband. He's a father of 6 or 7 kids. You know, and he does suffer with bipolar, depression, ADHD, and it made me realise that perhaps all the trash talking he does is just. He's actually quite a nice fella. You know what I mean? Like quite a happy chap. If you know what I mean? That's my views on Tyson now. When before he's like, he's a mug, he's a trash talker. You know, he's this, he's that. But in reality, he's a nice man.
Well, do you know what? I think, you know, after watching it, it gives you an idea. And a lot of these people, and this is part of our new series we're releasing too, Behind the Scenes of Boxing, you know, you're going to, and Lunch With, you're going to find that we want you to know what the real fighter's like, because you're only going to see his on-screen persona. You know, it's very similar to the theatrical build-up to a fight is to sell tickets so they like the WWE. And they're not as big an arsehole as you think they are.
Nah.
And Tyson Fury...
Big respect for Paris, his wife, who she's like, she is the boss. She holds the family together. You know?
Yeah, but I think that Tyson and Paris have that old school family value. You know what I mean? It's all... So Paris is the stay-at-home mum and keeps the household together, which is how it always used to be back in the old days. I mean... Now, I've got a traveller background similar to Tyson's. Tyson's is, you know, a one-step generation closer than mine. But it was always like that, you know. We have this sort of family bonding that used to go on. And then when you get older, you can't stand one another. That's just normally the kids, do you know what I mean? So I think it's one of those...
What made me laugh is when Tyson got away. And he got away for like the night. Got the phone call. His son shaved
his head, yeah. I want to look like Daddy. It was fantastic. And massive respect to both Tyson and Paris for allowing cameras into their family home. I'm sure a big check from Netflix really helped. But, you know, it gives you an idea of what goes on in Tyson's mind and, of course, what his family have to go through. You know,
even Big John, his dad, you know. When it comes to like the boxing world and all that, he's all loud, brash, blah blah blah. But really, in reality, he's a down-to-earth man. You know, all for his family.
And one thing I will say before we move on is the bit I love about the Furies is how down-to-earth they really are, and how sort of Jekyll and Hyde it all is. We live in this big mansion in Morecambe, but I'm not spending £5 on colouring pencils. I'm going to Lidl's. But do you know what? That's really quite refreshing. You know, if you've got this sort of money, you do need to live in a bigger home and more security. You get that. But it's actually... Yeah, I mean, it's great.
It goes to prove to you, like with all the millions what Tyson's got, you know, he's got the flash cars and everything, but... He drives around in like brand new Transit. It's brand new, but still a Transit. And he drives a Passat.
That was amusing. That was amusing. Anyway, so yeah, he did. Anyway, so moving on. Okay, so Usyk has admitted now to a massive trick he used to get into the Anthony Joshua fight. Wow. So he just over years since he won his second fight against Joshua, he confirmed something that we'd all suspected really, that the Ukrainian he came out vicious in both. Well, sorry, not vicious so much, but victorious in both fights. He won, then he defended WBO, IBF titles, and you know. It was only his third fight heavyweight. He reckons he was playing around with Derek Chisora to get Anthony Joshua into the ring.
Yeah, made the fight look hard. Really, in reality, he could have whooped Chisora, you know, drew him out, and foolishly, AJ fell for it.
I don't know. I mean, Usyk didn't look comfortable when he caught him in the stomach, did he? So, I mean, it's
still beat him twice.
He did, and that can't be disputed, and that's that. So, anyway, Jai Opetaia, Ellie Scotty title fight, double header eyed for September 30th in the UK. That's going to be good. A purse bid hearing won't be necessary for the order Jai Opetaia Maris Brides championship fight. It's possible for the matchup itself, not necessary, or at least next. I mean, what do you think?
Well, I don't know. I think we'll all have our opinions and that, but I think it all depends on the night.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I don't think I can. I would argue with you. I'd argue with you there. I really wouldn't.
Yeah, you know, you can say, yeah, he's got this record, they've got that record. Don't mean shit. What happens on the night, that's when the business is done. That's when it happens.
Absolutely.
You've got Mike Tyson, one of the greatest champions heavyweights out there. He was going to absolutely ruin Buster Douglas, but on the night, it never happened.
No, Douglas gave him a schooling, didn't they?
Yeah. Just goes to show. So, 2nd of September, Showdown, number 2. Smith, Eubank. I've got a feeling that Eubank is going to pull off an upset.
Well, I don't know if it'll be an upset.
Yeah, because everyone's... Smith battered him in the first fight, but I believe that was down to what had gone on previously with the Conor Ben saga and all that weight he lost to get to that fight. And I don't think he's right physically or mentally at that time. But this time round, he's going to be.
Well, I mean, I just think it's going to be an interesting fight. I can't wait to actually see it. So, you know, I think Wasserman's and Boxer, they need to be calling us because we need to be covering the fight, and they haven't so far. We wrote them emails, messages, send them telephone messages, absolutely everything. So, guys, don't forget, you know, we are here, we are happy, and we are willing to cover your fights. But yeah, if not, well, I guess I'll be watching it on the TV just like you, pal.
Yes, definitely. But I think it's going to be an explosive fight.
Exactly.
They've both got something to prove. Liam Smith wants to prove he can batter him again, and Eubank wants to prove that he can beat him.
Well, I just think... I just think it's going to be interesting. I really do. I would like to see Chris Eubank actually come back and redeem himself. I really would. But I'm not sure if that's going to be possible.
Well, like we've just said previously, depends what happens on the night.
And last but not least, Carl Froch. He's going in upsetting everyone, isn't he? He's having a go at Joshua's trainer. He's had a go at Bellew, saying, hey, can you really believe what you were saying that night? I mean, he's pretty bad.
Off from commentating, didn't he? He should be allowed. But, listen, you want that, don't you? You want the truth being spoken.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Anyway, guys, thanks very much for joining us for another live episode of No Fucks Given. Many apologies if anyone's taken offence by the language, but we don't give a fuck. I think it's probably pure to say. Don't forget to be in chance of winning one of our $50 prizes. You have to like or subscribe or follow our channels and at least tag one friend in it. And you could be in winning $50 at the end of every single month, starting in August 2023. So don't forget, like, subscribe, follow, share, and tag. And we'll see you again next week. Bosh.